surprisingly, the light is really good in here. That's crazy. Hey, welcome to my channel. First video, like full video. That's not a short or an edit or anything, which is great. I need to get in the habit of looking at the camera, not at the record button or at the screen. Sorry guys, I'm filming on my phone. Don't have a camera. Tell my boyfriend to buy me one. You know who you are. Anyway, so I just filmed a 10-minute video on TikTok talking about all of the books I read in 2023 and going through and just kind of talking about them. And I mentioned in the video, if you're coming from the video, if not, hey, welcome. Anywho, I talked about all of the books that I read so far in 2023 and kind of reviewed them. But I mentioned in the video that I have a big bookshelf. I actually have 2. And if people wanted to see that, then I'd make a video. Well, I just posted it like 3 minutes ago, and I'm impatient and don't want to wait, so I'm just gonna show off the books. You've probably seen behind me, it's one of my bookshelves. You're sitting on top of the other one. So let's get started with that. Okay, so first we're gonna talk about what's on top of the bookshelf because I feel that that's important to the rest of the things. So this is a pan out of the whole thing and what she looks like. First, we're gonna talk about the pillows, Stranger Things. If you've never seen my channel before, go look at the shorts. That'll explain the pillows. Second, we got 2 different versions of snakes. I am in Slytherin, so only fitting. And then we got Fang in the middle. And what I'm most proud of about this shelf would be my Slytherin edition books for the Harry Potter series. And guys, don't hate me, never read them and haven't watched the last movie. So that's something to talk about in the comment section or just in general. I do answer comments. So if you want to ask questions after this video, I will definitely respond. Anyway, we have these beautiful Harry Potter books. Each one has a different cover on it. And they were kind of pricey on Amazon, but the hardcovers were more expensive, so I got these instead. And it also came with the house ghost, and then the story. So I thought that was pretty cool. Squishmallow thing. This I actually got from the Harry Potter World and Universal. So that's pretty cool if you think about it. And he was only like $30, which is surprising. Okay, so next, well, you saw how it's kind of a cubby. And then the first shelf, which is gonna be this one right there, is the mystery shelf. I've only read about half of the books on it. We're gonna talk about them. So the way I have this little cubby set up is I have my 2 hardcover books on either side. Both I got from the Dollar Tree, by the way, for $1.25 because, you know, the Dollar Tree is not $1 anymore. And that's what the books are looking like. They're kind of in a staggered type thing. I have read this one this year, actually, not that long ago. This one I read in middle school and did a book report for it. This one I've never read, but I've had a long time. This one I have read. I talked about it in my TikTok. So if you're coming from that, you know. Then we got these 2, which is part of this series, which I have not read yet, unfortunately. This is the only Natasha Preston book that I haven't read. I'm getting to it though. This one I read, it was my favorite Natasha Preston book. This is a good summer book, and this was my least favorite book of all time. Next section is going to be this section right here, which is gonna be kind of, I guess, more fantasy, not dark romance, but still fantasy romance. So that's what we're going with for this shelf. It's all by one author except for 2 books. Okay, in this little nook, once again, hardcover. No, I didn't do that. I went to this really cool book sale thing that had old library books they were selling, and that was already like that. But anyway, if you came from my TikTok, you know I've read these 3. I have not read this one, but I'm really proud of getting it. And this one I've heard is super good, but I don't want to start it because the way I am with series is I start it and then I have to finish it. So I haven't read it yet. Okay, next little cubby you notice has this little guy. I almost dropped him. He doesn't have a name. I would love for him to get names in the comments. If anybody wants to name him, I haven't named him yet. But basically, he kind of sits in whichever shelf that I am currently reading out of. And I'm currently reading out of the dark romance book nook. We're going to talk about this one. Okay, so these books, let's talk about them. I've read this book, very dark. This one I haven't read yet, but it's my next to read. And I'm currently reading Scarred, which is part of this series. It's not a series, but it's by the same author. Touch of Darkness was really good. A Game of Gods I have not read. And these 2 books were phenomenal. And she's coming out with a 3rd one, and I'm really excited about it. Notice how they're all by the same publisher, though. I don't know if you can see that. Don't mind my finger just blocking the camera, but I don't know if you can see that. They're all by the same publisher. I was sitting in my band class reading one of those books by that publisher. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was Queen of Myth and Monsters, but I was in the middle of reading it. And one of my guy friends proceeded to take it and try to read it. When my band director made a comment about how he shouldn't be reading it because my band director, who is a guy, knows what those books have inside them. We all were very shocked by this, and it's still a conversation piece to this day. Moving on to the next section, which is right there. I do have to disclose the book that I have read, the one book that I have read that's in this little cubby, one of my friends currently has and is reading. So yeah. But the cool thing about this cubby is I know the author of these 3 books because he is one of the band kids' dads. So that's a cool little fact. Now we're getting to the bottom shelf. You know, I'm just gonna hold. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna push the chair to my desk. And then I'm gonna sit on the floor because I feel that that's just a better decision for me. Because all of these are literally on the floor and it's gonna be a struggle for me to navigate. And our next cubby here is going to be our horror cubby. And it's gonna have this. I didn't really know where to put this book, so I kind of stuck it there, even though it really is a mystery, but also a fantasy. I don't really know. This book, actually, we're gonna pull this one out, has these 3 in it, and was a Barnes & Noble exclusive for only 25 bucks. So that's a cool little thing. I have read this one, big fan of Supernatural. I tried to read this one but couldn't get into it. This is Once Upon a Zombie. She's been through a lot. I've read her 4 times. Asylum, Sanctum, these both were really, really good. This one was terrible, but I read it anyway. And this one was okay. This one was great, though. Great. I recommend it, and it's a short book. Okay, so my next cubby is my romance cubby. Like my normal romance cubby. And I have a few. I have one collector's edition of this book. But I'm going to talk about that one first. So let me get it out. It's this one. It is a collector's edition. And it has exclusive stuff in it. To be honest, don't remember what exclusive stuff it has because I didn't read this version. I borrowed from a friend. I believe there's a Q&A and he explains a bunch of stuff about August and Hazel. So, sorry, I'm like navigating how to do this whole filming thing. It's going great. Anyhow, we're gonna put this back and I'm gonna show you the full romance cubby. All right, here's the romance cubby. You can kind of see back there, that's where I keep 5 Feet Apart and Fault in Our Stars. There's also books down there, which are books that I don't necessarily consider romance really, but they're kind of just back there. This is my Colleen Hoover collection, which I'm sure is going to grow soon. These 2 phenomenal books, have not read yet. So I am excited to read this one though, but like I said before, I really need to get the second one and they haven't made it in paperback yet. And I want them to do that so that I can have both of them the same exact way. Okay, so next up we have my Dystopian Society cubby, which is right there. Full disclosure, I tried to read Dune. It didn't happen. I'm trying to choose my words carefully because I know a lot of people liked the movie. I didn't like the movie either. I didn't like the book, which I tried to read. And before people say, oh, well, you have to give it a chance. I did. I read half of it. I hated it. So unless it gets really good in the end, you guys can let me know. If it gets really good at the end, let me know though, because I will read it if you guys really want me to. So let's show off this cubby. This is my cubby. I just recently got these for Easter. They were a gift from a friend. This book I got, and these 3 you just saw on that TikTok if you watched it. And this one was not in the year in review because I was so tired of the Divergent books after this book right here that I just didn't read that one. Sorry to people who love it. I will read it eventually. Okay, on this side of the room, last but certainly not least, is the Twilight cubby. Yeah, I have a whole cubby for Twilight because I had to. I used to have a whole cubby for Percy Jackson, but when I show you the amount of Percy Jackson and Rick Riordan books that I have, you're gonna understand why that is not the case anymore. This is my Twilight cubby, kind of self-explanatory. Main 4 books are in the middle. The spin-off is right there, and the short-lived Fibri Tanner is right there. Now you may be asking yourself, or asking me, Kenzie, why don't you have Midnight Sun? The answer to that is simple. It's because I hated Midnight Sun. I borrowed it from a friend. That book was that big, and I literally hated it. That's why I don't have it. Moving on to, that's the wrong direction. Moving on to that cubby up there. So this is where I keep my miscellaneous books. And this is where I keep all the Percy Jackson and Narnia books. Now, to put in perspective, these 3 shelves used to hold the majority of those books. Don't ask me how I did it. I have no idea. So we're gonna start with the top shelf. This is my first shelf, but we're gonna start over here. In 8th grade, we had to sit through a sex ed class where this book is from. I know her, she signed my bookmark that's in the book. This book saved my life freshman year and sophomore year. I've not read this, but people at church think it's amazing, and I will probably agree with them. This book was also a book given to me by someone at church because she thought it would help me, and it probably will. And this book is by my really good friend, Sarah Meloff. It's honestly phenomenal, and I just wanted to show you guys that she signed it. She's awesome. You can get it on Amazon. I don't remember how much it was because I got it directly from her. No, but seriously though, I'm gonna rep this book some more. This book is amazing. She did all of the research and the writing and the illustration for this. I had my little cousin read it, and it's great. It helps children understand anxiety, but also younger teenagers, older teenagers, and even adults that don't really understand it. It really helps them through pictures, through writing. It's kind of like Inside Out, but just for anxiety. So all the different characters that you saw on the front there, those are different forms of anxiety, which is really cool and really easy to understand for anybody. Okay, so the next is our little miscellaneous, because this I thought was going to end up being a romance book. It was not. This book is about a Rottweiler, and I have a Rottie if you guys don't know. This one was a gift from my cousin. This one's just a great book. This book means a lot to me because it was given to me by one of my trumpet babies for band, and well, this is why I have it. So we're gonna keep that forever and always. The next books are, oh, my Slytherin poster's back there. That's awesome, you can see that. Anyway, my next set of books, there's 5 of them, even though you can't really see one of them because they're so tiny. They're all about Elvis Presley. If you don't know who that is, you probably do, you just don't think you do. Anyway, they were a gift from my grandma, and her husband, my grandpa loves Elvis, and I didn't want to get rid of the books, so I kept them. So I haven't read any of them, to be completely honest. Sorry, Grandma. But they're there if I want to read them. My next shelf. Okay, we're gonna start over here. These are the Narnia books. Haven't read any of them yet. Don't hate, okay? The books are just like really, really tiny, and yeah, they're really tiny, and I just don't have I can't do it. I'm still asking myself how I was able to fit all of these books into one of those, and you were able to see every single book. I wish I had a picture of it somewhere because I don't. I read these 2 books recently, these 3, 4, a long time ago. These 2 I've read at some point, I just don't really remember, and these I've not read. So I have a lot of reading to catch up on before I leave for college. Yes, hi, if you didn't know, I'm going to the University of Alabama for college, and if you saw the Florida Gator locker in the background, it belongs to my mother. She got into Florida but didn't go because that was when the Gainesville murders were happening. So yeah, that's not important information that you needed, but I was just gonna tell you anyway. But that wraps up the book tour. I have no idea how long this video is going to be yet because I still have to edit the clips and do all that fun stuff. But well, lighting's really good right here. My hair is looking kind of good. I impulsively cut my own bangs last night. I was at the lake all day yesterday with my family and my boyfriend, and I got home and I've just been wanting bangs for a while, and I cut them. Do they look good? Not really, but it's okay. And they're gonna grow out, and I'm getting a haircut and highlights on the 31st of July, and this is the 24th of June. So, I mean, it'll look fine. And it doesn't look horrible. It's just kind of here. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Go check out my edits and my TikToks if you haven't. One of the accounts is the same username as this one. It's mac&cheese13. My name's Mackenzie if you needed help with that. That was kind of rude. I'm so sorry. The other one is that one, Writer13. I post edits and Steve related and Stranger Things related things quite often there, and book related. That's my book related account. My other account's just kind of my personal trends, do what I want with my friends, that kind of thing. So if you guys want to check that out on TikTok, that'd be great. If you want to subscribe, that'd also be great. I'll see you guys in the next video.